order to be, so if you can't get the document, you're not going to make an opinion on it. But it specifically said that you can't. It never said you can't open a charter school.
No, it didn't. I just admitted that. I just said that.
Yeah, no. But from the initial reading, to me, it said that if you have a charter school and you have 300 kids in a charter school,
you cannot
increase that to 325 or 305 or 310. It's capped.
Right.
However, it doesn't say that you can't open new charter schools.
Right.
So, I mean, to me,
it's kind of weak anyway, because if she said you can't open new charter schools, it would probably be, and whoever wrote this, or not who wrote it, but the person who said, well, our charter school stops at 3rd grade and we can't increase it up to 4th grade. But the initial charter says how many students you're going to serve. So she's just capping it at what
so
the initial charter said.
If it's supposed to have 450, you only have
but that person did make a good point, because it doesn't say in this bill we're going to study charters and then come up. It's really a weak piece of legislation.
Why would you say it's a weak piece of legislation?
Because it's not saying we're going to study charters or see how effective they are.
But that's not what the bill is about.
I know.
It's not about the effectiveness of charters.
But that's what you would think it would be about. I mean, what's the purpose of that?
No, it's about the amount of students in the school and increasing. To me, all right, suppose the school has 15 students per class, right? And you're going to increase the size. That means you're going to increase the amount of students in the class. And to me, whenever you increase the size of the students in the class,
the number of students, the ratio,
that means to say that, the teacher,
you're interfering with their education.
Exactly.
Experience. Yeah.
So to me, I mean, and the parents, and this always happens. This is true. The parents might be saying that, listen, we live in Newark, and you don't understand what we go through in Newark. You don't understand what it is for us as far as a charter school is concerned, rather than having to send your kid to a public school. Because in South Orange and Maplewood, we that live in South Orange and Maplewood are able to send our kids to Columbia High School, Maplewood Middle School, South Orange Middle School, Set Boyd, Tuscan, and those are pretty good schools. So if I live in South Orange and Maplewood, I may not be able to understand what the people in the urban districts are facing, as far as if they have to send their kids to the public school as opposed to a charter school. So the people will be looking and saying that if you limit the spaces of that school, you might be hindering my kid from getting a quality education. And, that could be a point too. That could be a point. So, for example...
I'd like to know... I've yet to dig into this. What was her intent? What was her intent in limiting this? Because, the bill doesn't say we want to limit or stop, the increasing enrollment in these schools in order to study something.
The intent is to limit, me...
For what, though? For what purpose?
To me, the intent is to limit the amount of students in the school. By limiting the amount of students in the school, you're capping the average per class at a certain number. If you continue to expand the numbers in the school, that means to say that some kids may get lost in the shuffle because the class size is going to be bigger. And we always complain in South Orange and Maplewood about class size being bigger. And to me, in the urban districts, you need smaller class sizes as opposed to the suburban district.
In any school, you need smaller class sizes.
Well, yeah.
And that's a problem here.
More so in the urban school districts, though.
But you could say more so there, because here there is a cap. And they try to keep the student-teacher ratio at a certain level. For me, I can have max out at 34 kids in a classroom, and they don't do that here at Columbia High School.
But here's why I say that. In the suburban district, most of the parents can be able to afford a tutor, right? They can send their kids to tutoring, even if they're in a class of 30.
Yes, all these
in
are
urban district.
All these are cans. This could happen, that could happen.
This is facts though. If you're in an urban district and you're in a class of 30, it's highly unlikely that a lot of parents in that school system and in that class can send their kids to tutoring. If they live in Newark, as an example. If you live in Maple and South Orange or Melbourne or Livingston, there's a great possibility that many of those parents...
Okay, I can leave you there, but should I say something here? It's not just whether you can do it or you have the resources to do it necessarily. Some of this is knowing that is something that can be done, and then that is sort of expected. So students or parents, many parents, and not all of them, like in this district that we live in, a suburban area, recognize that their child may need a supplemental service, be that a tutor or hunting and learning center or Kumon or whatever. Because, again, this is a social class, socioeconomic issue. So here people in the middle class believe that education is something that you have to obtain in order to get somewhere. According to studies, so many people believe education is something that is just a goal and something that but you don't work that hard for it. So here in this community, many people, certainly not all of them, recognize that their kid needs to go to Kumon or they'll call somebody. And that is about social class. I'm not as if that is not available, though. It's a knowledge, but it's still available to people in it's available to people in urban districts. Wait a minute. Money needed, despite income, it's available.
But Margie, if it's available and I can't afford it, what difference does it make?
No. When I say it's available, I'm saying that it's available to you.
But if I can't afford it,
no. When I say it's available, I'm saying it's available to you.
Yes, it is.
I'm not saying whether you can afford it or not. It's available to you.
Marjorie, if it's available and I can't afford it, what difference does it make to me?
No, you don't understand what I'm saying. I don't know how else to put this.
Yeah, because
I'm saying that it is...
It is available to them if they want to use it.
No, it's available to them. It's available to you. It's not something that you are restricted by your income.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
Margie, come on. Margie, if I make $15,000 a year, right?
And you want
and you
your
make
kid,
$100,000 a year.
And you live in the city of Irvington, Newark.
How am I going to afford to send my kid to a tutor that's costing
There is money available for that. But the thing is that people are not aware of it. I'll give you an example.
There's really?
Yes.
There's money available to send
your kid to
a tutor?
Yes, it is.
You mean in the school system? If it's in the system, not the Huntington Learning School.
Whatever you need, if you make a case for it, it is available for you. In fact, I'm telling you, listen, it is less available for someone like me who they assume has some money than it is for someone who's poor. But wait. It's just about knowing, again, this whole idea of advocacy and advocating for yourself. People are not aware. I ran into a woman, I don't know, I know her occasionally because she provides a service for me. I didn't want to say where I met her from. But, I'm sitting there with her and she says, my son, he may not graduate. I'm like, really, why is that? Well, he might be failing English. Well, but, everyone says to me, he won't fail English because he's, special ed. And they're not going to let him fail. And I said, well, there's a number of things that are going on here. She says, well, I said, well, what's he going to do when he gets out? Well, he's never had a job, and I don't know, he could work somewhere, Burger King, I don't care, but he's got to get a job. First of all, if your kid is special ed, the kid's going to have an IEP, an individualized education program. If it says that he only has to reach X level of literacy, then that's the level of literacy he has to reach. And so you check to see with this teacher, did he reach that? Or whoever his advocate is in the school. Number one. Number two, because he's special ed, there's services available to him. And those services are available to him up until age 24 or whatever. In the state of New York, they are. So if they are in New York, I know they are in New Jersey. If your kid needs something, an iPod, or an iPad, not an iPod. If your kid needs an iPad and that's going to help them learning, as long as you know your rights as a parent. And I said, and in addition to that, if he's special ed, he deserves or is allowed transitional services that will help him once he gets out of high school, be that going to a training center or whatever it is, and they will pay for that. But the thing is that she's like, really? And I said, go look this up. We do not know our rights that we have, and the educational systems that exist do not necessarily explain that to us. For example, if you are someone with money and you know your rights, your light went out. I don't know what that means, but it feels weird. When you know that you have rights, you could be sped, or have an IEP, right? An individualized education program. And take 2 additional hours on an SAT if you want to.
I know that.
Yeah.
I know that.
But see, it goes along with knowing what your rights are and knowing what you can ask for.
So what I hear you saying is that?
Then I'm saying that there are special services.
A family that's making $25,000
could get some
not special ed.
Not based on income.
Just based on income.
Yeah, because districts get money for stuff.
They can get a tutor outside of the school system, like Huntington Learning Center, and get some federal government or state government to pay for that tutor.
I believe so, and I'll give you about 90%. I know at least in the state of New York you can, and if you can do that in New York, you should be able to do it in New Jersey.
I doubt that very much.
Well, we'll investigate, and then I'll come back, but I can't do that right here.
All right, you got to investigate.
But you do have to admit that people do not know.
I'm going to wholeheartedly agree that a lot of people don't know sometimes. Mm-hmm. They don't know that the information is out there.
Just like you, if you were broke, would you know where to go in this town to get something?
Yeah, there's a social services place in South Orange and Maplewood.
Okay. There was a period when I didn't have anything. I didn't know that there were food pantries here. I had absolutely no clue.
Yeah, there's also a social welfare here.
Okay, but it depends on what information you're exposed to. I didn't even know food pantries existed until I started working for a nonprofit. I didn't even know what the food bank was. So there's a whole thing that could be navigated out there that someone who was brought up and has tried to live a pretty solid middle class life wouldn't know anything about. Just that there's services that someone who is poor or without all those resources doesn't know exist.
Well, a lot of the churches have food pantries.
Well, I don't know how many in this community do. I mean, now I know that there's at least one. Our Lady of Sorrows has a food pantry.
Yeah, a few churches have food pantries, and what the church normally do, the churches goes to the big food pantry.
The food bank, yes.
The food bank, and they purchase $500 worth of food, and that might be a whole truckload of food.
Well, the way food pantry works out is that they charge you. Last time I was there, which was a long time ago, but I believe it was like $15 a pound, or some small fee. Might have been 15 cents per pound.
Yeah.
And didn't matter what it was. You just load it up, and then they buy the weight, and then they take that bulk of the food, and then distribute it based on
and it's pretty good food.
Some cases, when I worked with someone who did that, this food distribution, and this was my entry into the food pantry, you're getting some of these like pastas and stuff, and maybe have moths in them.
No.
It's true.
Yeah, the place that I know of, they actually had, some of the things might be expired.
Yeah.
But it might have been a week.
But there's a sell-by date, best of use-by date.
Yeah.
And just because it's, best of use-by doesn't mean it's bad. It's just not going to have the same, kick or taste that.
So is there any other local news?
Yeah, you were going to talk about this property, the Village Planning Board. Planning Board punts on appeal of post office plan approved. That is really a tongue-twisting headline.
Well, Maplewood Planning Board declines jurisdiction on Village Keeper's appeal.
What does that mean? The Planning Board declines jurisdiction.
I guess the Maplewood, the Village Keepers, appealed something to the planning board.
Okay, guess this is one first paragraph says the planning board on Tuesday declined to hear an appeal of the Maplewood Village Alliance's approval of the controversial
So they appealed something,
and then they're like, we ain't having it.
The Maplewood Planning Board declined their appeal.
So the Village Keepers Inc. filed the appeal claiming that the Maplewood Village Special Improvement District, which is under the oversight of the Maplewood Village Alliance, improperly approved the plan last month that calls for a 3-story, 20-unit building with 5 retail shops on the site of the former post office. The appeal stated that the Maplewood Village Alliance should not have approved the plans from GMF Properties because the developer did not show significant financial hardship. which is necessary prior to approving the destruction of a building in a special improvement district.